Welcome to Business Undercurrent, where today we're diving deep into one of the most transformative technological races of our time, the humanoid robotics revolution. You've likely seen the viral videos. Robots dancing, folding laundry, or even performing backflips. But behind the slick demos and billionaire predictions lies a much more complex story about economics, competition, and the gap between hype and reality. This race is about more than just building a cool machine. It's about who will control the future of labor and global economic power. We're going to separate the grand vision from the current reality, looking at what these robots can actually do today versus what tech leaders promise they will do tomorrow. By the end of this, you'll understand why the world's smartest engineers and richest companies are betting trillions on this technology. So let's start by looking at the precise moment this technology moved from the research lab to the factory floor. This is not some far-off future scenario. This is happening right now, and 2026 is the year we'll remember as the great inflection point. This is the moment the humanoid robot moved from a theoretical prototype to a production-ready system. Think about this. UPTech has already deployed over 1,000 of its Walker S2 units into factories, doing real work today. Boston Dynamics, famous for its incredible videos, has finally made its Atlas robot fully electric and production-ready, with deployments planned for Hyundai facilities. And Tesla's Optimus is already operating autonomously inside the Austin Gigafactory, performing critical tasks on the production line. We have clearly shifted from impressive demos to concrete use cases, with actual pricing and deployment timelines. This is the moment the race truly begins. Because humanoids are no longer just prototypes. But why is all of this happening now? What is the economic engine driving this massive shift? The humanoid robot race isn't driven by technological enthusiasm alone, it's fueled by cold, hard economics. Companies around the world are facing a perfect storm of economic pressures. Globally, the workforce is aging, and birth rates are declining, creating chronic labor shortages, especially in manufacturing and logistics. At the same time, manufacturing wages are rising 3 to 5% annually, while productivity gains have flatlined, creating immense pressure to automate. Amazon has already proven the massive potential for return on investment, with over 750,000 robots deployed in its warehouses. For companies like Hyundai, which is targeting 30,000 humanoid deployments a year, this isn't a luxury, it's a necessity to remain competitive. This economic reality is the foundation for the next slide, which explores the seductive vision that's capturing the world's imagination. This is the vision that's driving massive investment, and it's an incredibly seductive one, a world where work becomes optional. Tech leaders like Elon Musk and Sam Altman are selling a future of abundance, liberation, and the end of human drudgery. Musk predicts an age of abundance, where humanoids will eventually outnumber humans, creating unlimited economic growth. Sam Altman's investment in Figure AI signals his belief that humanoids are key to achieving artificial general intelligence, which he suggests will generate enough wealth to make a universal basic income a necessity. This all ties into a powerful narrative of human liberation, where robots handle the dangerous, repetitive, and boring jobs, freeing people to pursue more creative and fulfilling work. This dream has captured investor imagination, driving billions in funding. But how close are we really to this post-work reality? That's where we have to look at the uncomfortable truth. This is where the story gets really interesting, because the gap between the promise and the present is enormous. The uncomfortable truth is that today's humanoids are specialists, not the general-purpose assistants we've been promised. Behind many of the most impressive demos is the teleoperation secret, where a human operator is controlling the robot remotely to gather training data. The robot is learning, but it's not yet thinking for itself. Even when they are autonomous, they are often one-trick ponies, excelling at one or two specific tasks in a controlled environment, but unable to adapt to real-world chaos. They are also constrained by the battery tether, with operation often limited to just a few hours at a time before needing a complex recharge or battery swap. And finally, the safety gap remains a huge concern. A robot strong enough to lift a car is strong enough to cause serious harm, and safety in unstructured environments is an unsolved problem. The reality is that we are still years away from a general-purpose robot that can handle any task. So how are these robots actually learning to do the few things they can do? Let's look at the secret behind the scenes next. As we've seen, there's a significant reality gap, but what's even more fascinating is the strategic divergence that's shaping this global race. The United States and China are playing two fundamentally different games. On one side, you have the US strategy, the AGI moonshot. This is a high-risk, high-reward approach, betting $1 trillion on data center infrastructure, with the goal of achieving a theoretical breakthrough in artificial general intelligence that will unlock a humanoid's full capability. The focus here is on developing the brain, the frontier AI models, over immediate physical deployment. On the other side, you have China's strategy, the scale machine. This is a far more pragmatic approach, leveraging China's massive manufacturing dominance and 54% share of the global robot market to deploy, good enough, robots right now, and simply iterate later. Their focus is on embodied scale, building a practical advantage through mass deployment, data collection, and supply chain dominance. The question is, will the US breakthrough leapfrog the competition, or will China's scale and persistence prove more effective? And that brings us to China's hidden weapon. That entire strategic divergence we just discussed really hinges on one thing: data. Here's a critical insight that's often overlooked. Every single robot deployed in the real world is a data-gathering engine. And China is building an unstoppable advantage by treating every deployment as a strategic data play. They've built massive training infrastructures, like one center in Beijing that spans over 10,000 square meters and generates 6 million data points every year. This creates a powerful virtuous cycle. The more robots they deploy, the more real-world data they collect, which makes their AI better, which in turn makes deployment even more attractive. Chinese factories are willing to test these robots at scale, accepting their current limitations because they view early deployment as part of a massive, long-term learning process. So while the US waits for a single AGI breakthrough, China is building a practical, compounding advantage right now. This data engine is precisely why the geopolitical stakes are so high. So what does all of this mean for us? The humanoid robot revolution is no longer a distant sci-fi fantasy. It is inevitable. But how we choose to manage this revolution is not. The policy decisions we make today will shape the distribution of benefits and risks for decades to come. We need to be honest about the coming labor transition. Millions of jobs are at risk, and we must build support systems before the disruption hits, not after. And we absolutely must put security first, because as these robots become more autonomous and connected, we have to prevent Trojan horse scenarios that could compromise our critical infrastructure. The technology is coming, but the outcome is truly up to us. We need to choose a path that creates abundance and opportunity for all, not just for a select few. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the business undercurrent of the humanoid race. If you found this analysis valuable, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Business Undercurrent for more insights into the stories shaping our world.